Hey, this is Mr. Camel.
And this is Miss Walker Roberts.
And
welcome
to SLA
SLA
Presents.
Presents.
This is a show that's made by all the talented teachers, staff, and students at SLA. And we're coming to you live right now from the SLA Commons. After you watch this episode, we'll need your contributions and participation to keep the show going and generate new content.
So while you're watching, go to the suggestion box linked in the comments below and add notes about what you'd like to see in future episodes of the show and ways that maybe you could contribute.
All right, Mr. Camel, you ready to get started?
Yes.
I just remembered there's something I was supposed to take to the post office. I'll be right back. Do you know what time it is? I think it's mail time. Where is that pesky mailman? Is that him? Down the road? Oh, hello, mailman.
Hello.
What have we got today? Let's open up the old mailbag, as they say, and see this week's missives.
This first one is just signed Confused in the Games Advisory. Dear SLA Presents, can I catch COVID-19 from working on an overdue benchmark?
Oh, those games advisees. Do write back and say, dear Confused, no, you can only catch COVID-19 by touching a surface that has been contaminated and then touching your face. So don't touch it.
Yeah. Oh, this one is from Miss Siswick. She writes that she's been enjoying bumping into SLA people while out walking and taking in the air, but keeping socially distant. Just this week, she ran into Tristan Dinney and Jeremy Spry in the wild.
Oh, that reminds me, Mr. Spry. He gave us a sneak preview of the songs being suggested by students last week for our upcoming SLA Club Quarantine. Did you see those, Mr. Mailman?
I did. I'm really excited. Lil Uzi is dropping a new album, and J Electronica, and something called The Weekend. These are pretty exciting times.
Do you know, your musical knowledge has always astounded me. Speaking of trivia, I have the answer to last week's trivia contest. Here, let me pull it up. All right. The question was, what was Race Street formerly called? And the answer is Sassafras Street.
Well, and now on to the student spotlight.
Donald Glover, thank you so much for joining us here on the red carpet today. We're going to cut over to Student Spotlight next, where we'll be featuring a meaningful film that is part of a capstone project by Kishara Irwin, and we'll be interviewing her here on the red carpet afterwards. Oprah, hi, good to see you. Let's cut to the video.
Before I was born, the doctors diagnosed me with congenital microgastritis. This meant I would need round-the-clock care and not be able to do anything for myself. Because of this, they gave my mom the option to keep me or terminate me. She kept me. At 10:30 p.m. on April 8th of 2002, I was born. Due to the size of my stomach, I stayed in the hospital for an entire month. When I was released from the hospital, it didn't get any better. There were back-to-back doctor visits and therapists who came to my home to teach me how to do everything I know how to do today. Up until this day, I still receive occupational therapy to improve my motor skills and become more independent. Since I have a small stomach, there was an issue of figuring out how to eat. Doctors tried numerous options and ways. The final result was to place a tube inside of me. The J tube was how I got my nutrition, my calcium, and my overnight feedings. In addition to my tube, I also have certain supplies that will go around the tube site for protection and get me throughout the day. Because I have a feeding tube, I also have a nutrition doctor who I meet with throughout the year for follow-ups and updates about my weight and my feedings. Within all of this, I also have scoliosis. With my scoliosis, I needed to get surgery every 4 to 6 months to expand the titanium rods inside of my back. My last surgery was 2 or 3 years ago. Since I'm older, I don't need it anymore. Every year, I go and visit Shriners Hospital for a follow-up, and just to make sure my rods are still in place. Within all of this and through my childhood experience, I realized that my major support system is my family. Now, since you know my backstory, now I can show you how I do things in my own way and before entering the outside world. Now for this next part, you can see some of my accomplishments and that I don't let my disability stop me from having a good time and proving people wrong.
Practice first. Ready? Let me just see. One. Good. I'm really coming for you here. Ready? One. Way up high. And really hit right here, this part right here. I want to hurt your feet. Ready? Two. Three. Get up.
After seeing all of this, I hope you guys understand the purpose of this video. The main purpose was to show that everyone with a disability or without a disability should be proud of themselves and love themselves for who they are. Everyone is capable of doing what they want and are capable of being different and looking different, and to understand that it's okay to be special. For my goal, I wanted people to see that I don't let my disability define me as a person or stop me from doing the things that I want to do. I've showed accomplishments. I've showed my main skills in doing what I want to do and living my life as my own. I hope that when people watch this, that they understand that it's okay to be different than everyone else, and it's also okay to have modifications in your own way. So I hope you're encouraged to love yourself for who you are and be proud of it.
What a wonderful film. And we're so glad to have our student, Kishara Irwin, here to join us now. Kishara, tell us a little bit about what you were thinking about when you decided to make this film as your capstone.
Well, originally, I always wanted my capstone to be based around a disability. So before, it was going to be about autism or a Down syndrome, focused on that area. And I wanted to work with kids and, get a different aspect of them and what it's like to work with them. But then after talking with my mom, I realized that I would do it on my own self because I never really went into depth about my disability. I always just was like, oh, this is what it is, and it's my normal. But a lot of people don't actually know what congenital microgyria is. So because it's not like a normal thing when people be like, oh, I have this, or it's not a common disability. So most people aren't aware of what it is. And I know at school, like, the only people who really, well, even my friends don't really know what it is. They just know my appearance and they know that I need help. So it was good that I decided to do my disability, because then I was able to inform the whole school and other people what it actually is and what my routine is at home and how I do things in my own way, which is also the same thing as what everybody else does. It's just different for me. So now people can see that side of me inside the house and when I'm outside the house, and how I don't let me doing things differently affect what other people might think.
After you published your video, Kishara, you said that you've had over 100 views on it. What has it felt like to have that all about yourself out there, and what have people said back to you after seeing the video?
Well, I was actually surprised that it got to 100 that quickly, because once I published it, it was like, okay, I really just did it. And once I uploaded it, it was back-to-back shares. Like, a lot of people commented and had good reactions. Like, before I published it, I sent it to my mom so that she could have a preview of it, because if it needed to be like edited or something, I wanted to change it before it was out to the world. And then she's like, oh, this is good, I'm proud. So once I got that, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. So I uploaded it. Automatically people watched it and commented saying, oh, this is encouraging, this is inspiring. They were proud. They said that I'm gonna encourage someone else, and people shared it. Well, some of my family shared it, and then other people shared it. And then throughout the night, I would go and check like how many people watched it, and then it reached 100, but it's still trending. Like, I checked it today, and it's almost near 400.
Wow, almost 400. That's amazing.
Still going.
And this is your capstone project. And I was so excited earlier this year when you asked me to mentor you on your capstone. And really, I did very little, because you knew what you wanted to do and you went out and you did it. So to all of the seniors out there who are still working on their capstones, what is it like to be on the other side, to be finished with your project?
It's great, because for me, like, when we went on lockdown and when the COVID like happened and we were out of school, I was feeling down, because it was like, are we ever gonna go back to school, or are we gonna be able to do the big things that seniors were looking forward to? And because I was feeling so down, I said, okay, I'm gonna be productive and get everything done. And then one day I just decided to like sit here, and once I finished like all my school assignments, I was working on my capstone, because since I was gonna work with you originally to get it edited and everything like that, I asked my dad, because he's an editor too. Well, he makes videos too, and he knows how to edit really well. And I said, well, since I can't work with my mentor, because I don't know if we're ever going back to school, I asked my dad, would he do it? And so I had made him the outline and everything. And he basically just ended up saying that instead of me asking him to do it, I could just use the iMovie app on my phone and just make it how I want it. So that's just what I ended up doing, and it turned out great.
It sure did. And Kishara, thanks so much for joining us today on SLA Presents. You're a wonderful student and member of our community. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today on Student Spotlight. Up next, birthdays.
was. The excess spit makes my mouth slip as it attempts to wrap around this poem. My tongue trips as I stand here, rooted in this stage. A salty solution confines my elbows to my sides because it wants to show off how frightened I am. Let me be known, it says, so it introduces itself. As stains on my shirt, on the line of my forehead, above my lip, it waves, glistening. Leave me be, I tell the spit and sweat, leave me be, but this anxiety drops bombs of embarrassment, enlists a nervous system of assassins that prick and poke at my hands and legs, makes them shake and my chest quiver. Each time I come out scathed and scorched, yet I emerge, me, in the midst of it all. I close my eyes to grab hold of myself. You all are giants in my mind and me the little jester. If I don't get this piece exactly right, you'll eat me up and spit me out. I'm eating myself from the inside out, so I close my eyes. Hope I can put myself together, a puzzle with pieces lingering in the unknown. I gather and step to myself, a living wall, the only separation between the Most High and I, all to say, I'm scared. But my heart still dances to the whimsy of my imperfections. And this time I know that I'm capable, and that I'll step from this stage, tainted from my own turmoil, yet never defeated.
Wow, that poem was really true. Niall, tell us what inspired you.
So while I was making this poem, I was really trying to dig into like my fears of going on stage, but really just public speaking in general. And I wanted to get like both like just the feelings of it, but also like, you know, actions that take over my body while I'm going through anxiety. And so, you know, this poem is like really true to who I am behind like, you know, what I might like try to be. And it's often scared, even if I come off like confident or like I have everything under control. And so there's like this lingering fear that I think that I hold with me a lot. Performing poetry is just really scary, and this was like the perfect poem to go up and perform, to let everybody know that, you know, this is something that everybody goes through. And even though, like, because I do poetry often, even though I do it so often, and I'm performing on stage multiple times, it never, for some people, this fear never goes away. Excuse me. And so I think that this poetry is amazing, and it can help you, you know, overcome these fears or just live alongside them without like letting them, you know, take over you. So, yeah.
Thanks, Niall. That was really great. Up now, we have Mr. K telling you about poetry videos for our next episodes.
Yes, thank you. We are looking for poetry video submissions for the next episode, so please put a link in the comments beneath this video.
Well, that's it for this episode of
SLA Presents. Don't forget the walkout music.